You toss out your old washer thinking it's junk, but it might just be worth more than your weekend paycheck. Behind the clangy drum and chipped enamel is a recycling industry that's wild, lucrative, and surprisingly secretive. Let's crack open the life and afterlife of your washing machine. Alright, let's talk about the hidden gold mine humming away in your laundry room. Here's the wild part. 90% of appliances in the US don't just end up in some forgotten landfill. They actually get recycled. Yep, that beast of a washing machine that's been rattling like a maraca for months, it's probably headed for a second life. But most people don't realize something huge. You could be getting paid for it. Not just a couple of bucks, actual real money. Big brands like Samsung figured out that mining old machines is cheaper than mining the earth. Seriously. That's why they're throwing around trade-in deals where you can get up to $400 for an old washer. LG's doing it too. Even some utility companies are jumping in, offering you $50 to $100 just for sending your clunker to a certified recycler. So if you've ever paid someone to haul off your washer, congrats, you might have just donated cash. But here's what really makes this thing valuable. It's packed with good stuff. That old hunk of metal is nearly 40% steel, a chunk of aluminum, and a decent dose of copper. At current scrap prices, that's not nothing. It's like having a mini junkyard jackpot in your house without even realizing it. Now let's zoom in a little closer, and it gets darker. Inside your trusty washing machine is a whole cocktail of chemicals that sound like they belong in a supervillain's lab. Lead, mercury, cadmium. Ever heard of PCBs? These aren't just ugly acronyms. We're talking real threats here. Stuff that can mess with your brain, your body, even your future kids if it leaks into the environment. That's why in places like California, there are strict rules. These toxic time bombs have to be removed by pros before the machine goes anywhere near a shredder. No shortcuts. If someone skips the process, they're not just polluting, they're racking up serious fines. But here's the plot twist. Those very same toxic materials, when handled right, are actually valuable. It's like flipping a villain's lair into a treasure vault. Dangerous if mishandled, but loaded with potential if you know what you're doing. So yeah, your old washer, it's not junk, it's a ticking time bomb. Or a hidden payday. Depends on how you play it. Alright, time to step into a world you've probably never imagined, inside the belly of a recycling beast. Picture this. A massive noisy warehouse that feels like part factory, part sci-fi movie set. Conveyor belts snake across the floor, electromagnets swing like robot arms, and at the heart of it all, giant shredders that can tear your old washing machine apart in seconds. It's not chaos. It's controlled, calculated demolition with a purpose. Here's how it all kicks off. When your washing machine rolls into the facility, it's not immediately fed to the mechanical wolves. First, a team of techs steps in to handle the delicate stuff, carefully removing any hazardous materials we talked about earlier. This isn't a free-for-all with sledgehammers, it's surgical, precision tools, safety suits, no shortcuts. Once the dangerous bits are out, the dismantling begins. Motors are yanked, copper wires are delicately unraveled like expensive spaghetti, and all the plastic panels are peeled off and sorted. Nothing is wasted unless it has to be. Then comes the big moment, the shredder. This machine doesn't play around. It's got spinning blades the size of your arm that can chew up an entire washing machine like it's a soda can. What comes out the other side isn't just twisted wreckage, it's refined fragments, each about the size of your thumb. This is where your appliance stops looking like a machine and starts becoming raw material again. But the real show begins after the shredding. Giant magnets whip across the conveyor to suck up anything made of iron or steel. It's like watching a metal treasure hunt in fast forward. Then comes the eddy current separator. A machine so cool it makes metal literally jump. Aluminum and copper pieces fly off the belt like they've got a mind of their own. It's magnetic sorcery. And yes, it works. And if you thought that was impressive, the high-tech wizardry is just warming up. Some plants use optical scanners to read the color, shape, and texture of each fragment, shooting air blasts to push different materials into separate bins. Water tanks help separate lightweight plastics from heavier circuit boards and copper coils. It's so dialed in that some of these places can recover 99% of what comes through their doors. So yeah, behind every beep and buzz of your washing machine's final hours is an insanely high-tech process that's smarter, cleaner, and way cooler than you ever expected. Here's the part of the story nobody likes to talk about, but we really need to. Right now, only 22.3% of global e-waste is properly recycled. That means nearly 78% of discarded appliances, yeah, including washing machines, end up somewhere they absolutely shouldn't. Think overflowing landfills or worse, illegal dumps in developing countries. And what happens there? Machines rot, chemicals leak, and people, real breathing people, get sick. Those toxins we mentioned earlier, they don't just vanish into thin air. Stuff like lead and cadmium slowly seep into the soil, into the water, into the food chain. These aren't just environmental buzzwords, they're chemical ghosts that linger for decades, messing with ecosystems and drinking supplies. You can't just dig a hole and forget about it. And the worst part? It's not just about the ground beneath us, it's the air too. Many of these old appliances contain refrigerants or gases that, when released, pack a global warming punch 90 to 12,000 times stronger than good old CO2. That's not a typo. One junked fridge or washer that's improperly handled could do more damage than driving a gas-guzzling SUV for a year. But let's zoom in even further to the human toll. In places like Agbogbloshie, Ghana, kids, actual kids, spend their days burning wires and breaking apart appliances just to scavenge copper. No gloves, no masks, just toxic smoke in their lungs and a couple of coins in their pockets. We're talking 5-year-olds breathing in fumes that can literally erase parts of their brain's development, all so we can toss out an old washer without blinking. And yet, strangely enough, all this destruction is happening in the shadow of a booming industry. The appliance recycling market is no tiny side hustle. It's a $21 billion global industry in 2025 and projected to hit nearly $35 billion by 2032. That's not just growth, that's a tidal wave. A full-on gold rush fueled by our obsession with newer, shinier machines. And guess who's leading the charge? China, producing over 100 million washing machines last year alone. And while that sounds like a lot of laundry, it's also a whole mountain of metal, plastic, and electronics that'll eventually need a second life or a proper grave. But here's where things get surprisingly cool. This isn't just about warehouses and people with crowbars anymore. Companies like Panasonic are now using robots, actual robots, to dismantle washing machines. These machines don't just unscrew bolts. They handle rusted, mangled parts with eerie precision. And they don't complain or breathe in fumes. They just get the job done. So while the waste is terrifying, the response is becoming smarter, sharper, and way more advanced than you might think. Recycling isn't some dusty afterthought. It's a billion-dollar industry trying to clean up a mess we made without even noticing. Let's rewind for a second. Remember those slick trade-in deals that give you a few $100 for your old washer? Yeah, turns out there's a pretty dark flip side to that coin. While big brands tout their eco-friendly recycling programs, a disturbing chunk of our e-waste still ends up overseas, in places where safety gear is a luxury and environmental standards are practically non-existent. Out there, entire families, mothers, kids, teenagers, spend their days hacking apart appliances with hammers and chisels. No masks, no gloves, just bare hands, sharp metal, and clouds of toxic dust. It's brutal, it's dangerous, and it's happening right now. The irony stings. The same machines that made our lives more comfortable are wrecking the lives of people we'll never meet, thousands of miles away. But don't get it twisted, recycling isn't the villain here. The real problem is how we do it. If your machine ends up with a certified recycler, especially one that follows environmental and safety laws, you're doing something good. In places like California, only certified appliance recyclers are legally allowed to process appliances with hazardous materials. That's the kind of oversight we need everywhere. And now that you know all this, here's how to actually cash in while doing right by the planet. First, check out those trade-in programs. Samsung's been known to offer up to $400, and LG sometimes bumps it to $600 if the timing's right. Hint, keep an eye on sales and new product launches. They love throwing in bonuses then. Next, utility companies. Depending on where you live, they'll literally pay you to recycle. Some shell out $25, others up to $100. Michigan's Efficiency United gives you $50 for a washer that's headed out the door. Now, if your washer's totally dead and not eligible for rebates, don't worry. Scrap value is still a thing. With all that steel, copper, and aluminum inside, you could still pull $10 to $50 just by hauling it to a scrapyard. And if the machine still works, sell it. Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, or niche resale sites can net you anywhere from $100 to $500 depending on condition and brand. One man's dying rhinoceros is another man's lightly used whirlpool. And what's next for the future of all this? It's looking bright and automated. AI and machine learning are transforming recycling facilities, making them sharper, faster, and more precise than ever. Some of the most advanced plants use robots to dismantle appliances, identify materials, and separate them down to the tiniest screw. It's like watching Wall-E meet Tony Stark's workshop. Even better, the idea of the circular economy is becoming real. Brands like Miele are building new machines using old parts from recycled ones. That means fewer raw materials, less mining, and a more sustainable cycle from start to finish. The EU is even aiming for a 75% collection rate for large appliances like washing machines by 2030. That's ambitious and absolutely necessary. But here's the truth they don't advertise. Every single washer has enough valuable material in it to make recycling worth it financially. The problem isn't the economics, it's that most people just don't know what to do with their old machine. Now imagine if everyone did know. The scale of it is mind-blowing. Just in the US, over 9 million fridges and 6 million air conditioners get dumped each year. If we recycled them all properly, we'd recover millions of tons of valuable metals and keep a mountain of toxic waste out of landfills. So the next time you're about to replace that clunky old washer, stop and think. This isn't just a swap for a shinier model. It's your chance to make a global impact. You can earn cash, reduce pollution, and help build a system that values sustainability and people. Your washing machine isn't just some noisy box that cleans socks. It's a vault of raw material, waiting for its second act. The only question is, will you throw it away blindly or make the smart move and cash in while helping the planet? Thanks for sticking around to the end. If you learned something new or found this eye-opening, go ahead and hit that like button. It helps us out more than you know. Share this with someone who's about to toss their old washer. And make sure you subscribe for more deep dives that break down the surprising truth behind everyday things. We've got plenty more where this came from. See you in the next one.